Ontologic is a universal protocol for reasoning provenance. It provides standardized schemas for rules, facts, and meaning, a deterministic verification layer on Hedera, and portable proofs encoded as tokens, giving Web3 the equivalent of TCP/IP but for semantic truth. You might be wondering about the architecture. Well, think about it this way. The architecture of Ontologic is a high-level semantic pipeline. We start with your syntax. These are canonical JSON structures validated as schema. The syntax is parsed, and there's an interpretation of the value that is represented, parsed by the reasoning contract. This is also known as the Peirce layer. Then there's a classification of concepts. This is similar to how you could think of a taxonomy. The HCS topic categories would allow us to map a taxonomy onto the category in order to derive proofs and use those proofs to continue deriving conclusions and build out the taxonomy. Through this, we're able to derive relationships of meaning, and a semantic graph emerges, forming an ontology. Each stage is deterministic, producing verified meaning, and the output is a single proof hash anchored on Hedera. This is what's working today. We're on v.6.3. Here are the main takeaways. We have a deterministic Tarski verification loop. We have multi-domain rule execution. We have shared input tokens used for 2 and 3 input logic. So we're able to represent what red and blue mean in different domains using cyan, magenta, etc. Reasoning contract 0.6.3 is validated through the entire pipeline. Ontologic already performs domain general reasoning verification. Now, here's the major milestone. This was our breakthrough. In version 0.6.3, Ontologic proves the mechanism works end-to-end. We've achieved deterministic rule verification, multi-domain reasoning, and both 2-input and 3-input logic using the same shared tokens. The reasoning contract and feeder contracts are functioning cohesively as a semantic substrate. Moving from v.0.4.5, where we implemented a single rule, to v.0.6.3, where we're now able to specify a specific domain with multi-input and multi-rule reasoning, proving an entity exists outside of these default 2-rule, using rules to prove the rules that prove that this exists. We advanced from the early R plus B equals P prototype to fully domain general reasoning. And critically, the entity manifest posted to Hedera's consensus service at sequence 55 demonstrates the meaning layer anchoring Ontologic and showing what it's designed for. I'm going to show you a full Peirce Tarski Floridi proof cycle end-to-end live. Looking here at my IDE, I've got VS Code pulled up. I ran through my scripts here, red, green, yellow, green, blue, cyan, etc. are the 3 that I needed in order to get my Tarski rules. These 3 files basically represent simple additive color mixing rules. So red and green is yellow, green and blue is cyan, red and blue is magenta. It's the reasoning pipeline. Its canonical manifest is published to the HCS, and then Ontologic derives the triune compression, which is your rule hash, input hash, and the proof hash, right? This is canon. And it calls the contract, which mints the deterministic proof token. So you'd be able to track that, follow these transaction links. Again, you'll be running through your own demo, so you'll be able to track that on your side as well. Once you have a triune compression, calls the contract, mints the proof token, then we're able to actually prove the manifest. So here's the MVP script that I made for entity white light, which you'll need to adjust if you're going to follow the proofs. You're going to run, the MVP final, green, blue, cyan, run each rule to set the canonical fresh hashes on the contract. And then once that's done, you're going to want to copy over that entity white light script, edit it to include your new hashes, and then you can continue forward. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and run my script. Cool. So what this is doing is checking to make sure that the attestation is honest and that the proofs match the expected proofs, which they do. Again, with those updated rules. And then once we reason the rules, then we get the canonical proof hash of those transactions. The Floridi manifest is anchored. This should be HCS sequence 55. And that gives us this hash, right? So that's the evidence proof of 3, proving that I used these 3 proofs to generate this proof, and that proof is being published here at HCS sequence 55, entity verdict. And again, this is kind of scaling for the future. I don't want to get into all that stuff with you, just talking about the MVP right now. So the HTS message is live. The contract has minted that white entity. So now what I should be able to do is switch. Awesome. So now we should see the contract. Again, this should have some fresh new transactions. Perfect. And you should see the recent contract calls, timestamped. This today, November 16th, 12:16 p.m. Well, it was a minute ago or so. You can see that contract call. And then if we go over to our HCS topic, we should be able to refresh this. Mirror node lag. Okay, well, it'll pop up here soon. So let me just hop back over here. I've got a nice little thing to show you here. Just giving you a nice, this is the entity manifest, basically. Testing that the way that we've derived that yellow light is red and green light. So this is attesting to the fact that we have only derived a 2-input rule to get that third one, which makes that third one proven. And so with that in mind, I can show you, hopefully, the consensus service now. You can see our older ones, at least. Let me go ahead and just kind of show you an example here. So this is what my proof from before looked like. So this is the sequence number 46 of my proof. Again, this will match my previous run. So, each proof is different because I've proven this multiple times. This mirror node is lagging, and that's really unfortunate for a live demo. Anyway, so I just want to let you know that you can run this on your end and see, you can expect to see that. And by the time you're watching this video, you should see that sequence 55 showing up in the Hedera consensus service on my topic for the alpha reasoning tree. We've got the manifest signed and published containing those 3 proofs as evidence declaring that final entity. The smart contract enforces the rules deterministically with no, AI reasoning involved, no heuristics, just verifiable logic. I want to say, last note here, I think this is really important. Ontologic turns reasoning steps into audit grade on-chain artifacts. This demo shows you just a simple color domain, but the system is domain agnostic. Chemistry, compliance, robotics, finance, governance, anything with fixed rules can be proven. I want to also say thank you. Without people like you working at Hedera, I would never be able to do this. So thank you for being willing to even consider me and allowing me to be part of the hackathon. And I'm really excited to hear back from what you guys have to say. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you again.